Alright guys, welcome. Let's zoom in a little bit. So this is the Chapter 1, Quiz 1 review study guide. And here we go. So, what are two other ways to name AB, line AB? Hard to see, but there's actually arrows on both sides, so this is a line we're talking about. So AB is right here. So another way we can name AB is we could say AC. Again, we'd have to put arrows on both sides because it is a line. We could also just do BA as well. We could just switch those two letters. Or we could also even say BC. So those would work. Name two opposite rays in the diagram. So I'm going to use this picture here because we kind of need 3 points. I'm going to use B as the end point. So I'm going to use B going towards C. Okay, again, rays have one end point and then go on forever. And then I'm going to use B again, but I'm going to go towards A. And I like to make it look like it's in the order of the drawing, so that's why you have to pick a common endpoint. So B was used twice, and then A to the left, B to the right. Just like the picture, you don't have to, but I find it to be the best way to do that. The intersection of two planes, remember planes intersect along lines, so it's actually going to meet not at R or Q, it's actually going to meet at line RQ. And bonus, what would be one way to name this plane? So to name this plane, you could call this plane. I can't do ABC because those are collinear. They're on the same line. So I've used 3 non-collinear points. I could do plane RAB would be acceptable. Okay? All right, next we're going to have some questions on our quiz, number, line, intensive. So there's 2 ways we could do this. So let's go ahead and jump in. So at the figure on the right, name each of the following. The point on CF that's 1 unit from CF. So C to F goes from here to here. So I'm just going to go ahead and label that. Boom. So the point on CF that's 1 unit away from F. Well, 1 unit away from F would either be G or E. Since G is not on the line, E is on the line, my answer is E. 2 points that are 3 units away from E, so 3 units away, 1, 2, 3, so that would be H, and the other direction, 1, 2, 3, B. It's like Huntington Beach. And then the coordinate of the midpoint of AG, so A to G is from here to here, so to find the distance from A to G, you can subtract the 2 numbers, so -5 minus -1, and then just take the absolute value of that. So that's -6, which is 6. And so the midpoint is going to be directly in the middle, so we're just going to divide by 3, sorry, not by 3, by 2, which gives us 3. So if I go 3 units in, I should hit my midpoint. 1, 2, and 3. We could just count 2, which gives us D. Okay. So again, to find the length of a segment, we can take the 2 values, -5 and 1, and then just subtract them. So -5 minus 1 is actually -6, and then take the absolute value, because length cannot be negative. What are 2 other names for angle 1? Well, we have angle, we can use the sides, ECF. ECF, again, C has to go in the middle because it's the vertex, and then we could do angle FCE. I couldn't call it angle C because I wouldn't know if I was referring to this angle or if I was referring to the top angle, or maybe I was referring to the whole angle, so I'm not sure. DCF is 90 degrees, so what's DCE? It was supposed to say that CE was bisecting for this problem. It didn't, so the only way you would know if it said that CE bisect, which it does, which would make it cut in half, so it would be 45 degrees. Okay, DCF equals 90, DCE is 3x plus 12, and FCE is 4x plus 1. Find the value of x. Okay, so if we plug in that information, we have DCF, which is the entire angle here, is 90 degrees. And then we have DCE. DCE is this angle here, which is going to be 3x plus 12, and then the last angle is 4x plus 1. Now, here, if we still said CE was the bisector, then we could set them equal to each other, but safer bet is to just say, let's take this plus this and set it equal to the whole angle. So this is angle addition postulate, so we get 3x plus 12 plus 4x plus 1 equals 90 degrees. Again, we're dealing with angle measures, so we can use 90s and 180s a lot more often. So combined like terms, we get 7x plus 13 equals 90, and then we're going to go ahead and subtract the 13 from the 90, and we are going to come up with 77, and then divide by 7, and we get x equals 11. And it was looking for the value of x, so we got the value of x equals 11. If you were to set these two equal to each other, I believe you would also get x equals 11. So CE still is the bisector, but again, it didn't say it even though it was supposed to. So the safer bet, since it didn't say it even though it was supposed to, is to set them by adding them up and setting equal to 90. Okay, our DCE, so that's the pink one, and FCE, let's go ahead and highlight that one in green. Are they vertical, complementary, or supplementary if DCF, which is the yellow angle, is 90 degrees? Okay, well, remember vertical angles. Okay, so vertical angles would be these angles here. They're opposite of each other, and they're formed by two lines. So those are clearly not opposite of each other, so it's definitely not going to be vertical. Complementary means two angles that add to 90, which these two angles do add to 90. Supplementary would be add to 180, so it's definitely complementary. Okay. Why do you use one arrowhead when drawing or naming a ray, such as GM? Rays go infinitely in one direction, so the arrow lets you know which direction it's going. If you put an arrow in both directions, then it would be going forever in both directions. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, sorry, I'm not writing these ones down. I'm just going to explain these ones. I'll let you guys come up with the words. And 13, your classmate says that angle GHI and XHY are not congruent because they're not adjacent angles. The measure of each is 87. What is your classmate's error? Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to draw a picture. It says GHI is right there, and then we could literally have coming off of this XHY, and so in yellow we have GHI right there, and in pink we have XHY. And yes, very clearly, if I were to draw the picture like this, they are not adjacent angles, okay? But his reason is saying they're not congruent, even though it says each one's 87 degrees. They're not congruent because they're not adjacent. Well, being adjacent has nothing to do with being congruent or not. Being congruent all has to do with, are their measures the same? Okay, it's like, are you the same height as me? Okay, well, you could be the same height as me without standing right next to me. Okay, so his error here is that being adjacent has nothing to do with being congruent. Okay, so that would be an example of his picture. The pink and the yellow angle are definitely congruent. They are not adjacent. That's okay. You don't have to be adjacent. Okay. All right, guys. There it is. Some vocab we talked about, and good luck. Peace.